Hi, welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to show you how to make a cascading wedding bouquet on a budget. So if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. Now come on, let's get right into this and let me show you how to make this. Now, to begin with, I have a couple of these bouquet holders that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and these were $2.99 for the package of two of them. And then let me also show you one that I picked up last summer at Hobby Lobby, and this one already has the foam in it. So for one of these, it is $3.99. But I did not see any like this at my Hobby Lobby store this time when I went. The only ones they had were these new ones that I just picked up. Now these, you do have to add in your own foam, but let me show you the difference in sizes. Looking at the handles here, you can see this new one has a much wider handle compared to the very thin handle of the one I purchased last summer. And also looking at the top here, you can see that the new one is much larger as well, and I do like that. Now, especially these handles, I think it will be much more comfortable holding this little bit bigger handle than it will be this little tiny handle. Now, we do have to add in our own foam, and you can pick up one of these blocks of foam at Dollar Tree, or you can get a free pack at Walmart, and they're actually less expensive if you buy them in the 3-pack at Walmart. Now, I'm just using this jar with some of these gems in it to hold my bouquet holder, but I find out as I get going that this is not the best idea for this. It is great as far as sturdiness, but my bouquet holder keeps tipping over, and I'm going to show you how I come up with a better plan later on in the video. Now let me show you what flowers I picked up here. Like I said, I'm trying to go very budget friendly for this, so I picked up some of these dahlia bushes from Walmart. All the flowers I'm going to use on this bouquet are from Walmart. These dahlia bushes, if you buy them online, are only $5 a bush. For whatever reason, in the store, they were actually charging $5.80 a bush. Now, this dogwood bush that I have here, this was only, let me show you here, $3.47. And you get a lot of flowers, and I love the movement and everything we're going to get with those dogwoods. Now, also I grabbed one of these lily bushes, and these are also a very good economical price at only $3.47, and you get a lot of flowers for that amount of money, and they're nice large flowers. I also picked up one of these ferns. I wasn't sure if I was going to use this or not, and I end up not using these ferns, but these ferns were $5. I grabbed one of these eucalyptus bushes, and these were, I believe, around $2.75. And the same with this baby breath bush. This also was around $2.50, $2.75, something like that. Now, first thing we have to do is take this top cage part off from our bouquet holder. So you can just kind of press in the bottom part. Let me see if I can't get a better picture. And then just pull the top part out and up. And they come apart really easy when you do that. Now we're going to take this top part and put it on top of our foam and use that as our little template to cut around. So I just have this old steak knife that I like to use for crafting. So I'm just going to use that and cut right around our bouquet holder here. And this type of foam is super easy to cut through. It's a little bit messy, but don't let that put you off to it. It's real easy to clean up. Now, once I have it basically cut through, I'm just going to snap the rest of it off. So I actually get enough foam here. I could probably do 2 of these bouquets if I needed to. So if you're making your bridal bouquet along with the bridesmaid bouquets and stuff, you could probably get 2 of these bouquet holders out of just 1 block. So that makes it very economical. Now you can see I'm just pressing down our bouquet holder onto our block of foam here to give me the template of where I need to cut. And then I just peel this foam like as if it's a potato. And you can see how easy it is to just kind of peel, then hold our foam part on there. You can see it's still way too big. I just press that down on there so I can see exactly how much further I need to peel off. And now I'm just going right around it. And again, it's like peeling an apple or a potato. Super easy. And I just keep trying it. You can see we're getting a lot closer. I want it to go all the way down low, so I'm going to just peel a little bit more. And I just do little bits at a time because I don't want to take too much off. And you can see we're getting very close to being able to get down in there. And each time I do this, I just press, and you can see where it kind of shows me how much further I need to peel away. And now when I put our foam in there, let me show you this. It fits all the way down in there. Now I know a lot of the foam is sticking out through the little gaps there. That's no problem. We're just going to go ahead and take our knife and scrape all that part sticking out right off, so it will be nice and smooth going all the way around there. And I'm pressing it in to make sure it's secure in there really good. And now we just need to cut off the top part so that it will fit within the cage of the top of our bouquet. So again, I'm just pressing that top part on there to give me an imprint so I know about how much I need to cut off. And now you can see when I fit this top part on here, it looks like it's going to fit just fine. It's going to be a little snug, and that's what we want. And you can see what a mess this makes. But it's super easy to clean up, so don't let that scare you off from this. This isn't anything that is really hard to do or anything, so don't let the fact that you have to put your own foam in these detour you from wanting to do this, because it's really easy. Now, once our foam is all in there right, we can just go around and rehook each one of these little hooks going all the way around to make sure it's nice and secure. And you can see this is now all cleaned up. I just cleaned it all up with some water, and I used a little water all the way around the outside of this foam. It just cleans up all that kind of green dust that it creates and makes it a little more firm to be able to work with. And now we're not getting a mess every time we use this. Now, I like the size so much better. I showed you the two different sizes there. I think the size is going to work so much better. And I like having the extra room for our bouquets. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our flowers here using our wire cutters, and we're just going to pull each stem all the way up and cutting it as close to the main stem as we can, cutting each one of our flowers off from here. Now the reason I do this and cut it all the way to the bottom, right to the main part of the stem, is any of the wire part that's left over from our flowers that we end up cutting off and not using, I always keep those. There's always 100 things you can use those for. Now we're just going to set the empty stem over there, and we can pile up all the flowers together in piles by what type of flower they are, like our peonies right there, and we can grab all of our dahlias and put our dahlias together. And then of course our magnolia flowers here, they're so beautiful. We have a couple of those, and our 3 dahlias. We have 3 of the peonies, and then we have a couple of these hydrangeas. And don't forget to take your price tags off. You'll want to do that on each bush because you don't want to have any price tags in your bouquets. Now I do this with both of our dahlia bushes here. So now I have all of our flowers separated for all those on both bushes. And now we're going to start cutting apart our dogwood bush. And this is so pretty. Now see at the bottom here, you can see where I cut off 2 of the different branches. I'm going to cut right above that where they separate there, because you don't want to have to be poking in that really thick part into our bouquet holder. So you want to have it as thin of a stem as what we can when we have to use that into our bouquet holder. Now we're going to pull this one apart here, and you can see I'm still cutting apart each one of these individual little stems on here. And then I'm going to put all these in groups by how long they are. So our shortest to our longest, and we can set those aside. And now I'm going to do the same thing, just cutting apart all this baby's breath here as well. I just personally like cutting most of this stuff apart before I get started, so I don't have to be doing it once we're actually making our bouquet. Now, I did not cut apart our lily bushes at the beginning because I wasn't sure if I was going to use them or not, but I do end up using those, so I cut those apart as I need them. Now, I don't care for these leaves that they have on this peony, so I'm just going to take off these leaves and set them off to the side. And for this peony, it's going to be our first flower. This is going to hang as part of the lowest part of our cascade, so I'm going to put a little hot glue on the end here, and I'm going to go ahead and poke it right in here, coming right down. Just like that. Now, I like to glue all of my flowers into our bouquet holder because when a bride is walking down the aisle, she does not want any of her flowers accidentally falling out of her bouquet. So I personally prefer to actually glue them all in. Now I'm going to take one of these dogwoods here, and I'm going to put this right here by our peony, and you can see I'm just kind of moving it around, like, do I like it underneath? Do I like it on top? And I think I like it underneath a little bit better. I want that dogwood hanging down a little bit further than what our peony is. So I don't need this one quite as long. So I just clipped off a little bit more of that, put my hot glue on, and I'm going to go ahead and just insert that right into our bouquet holder there. Just like that. And this is going to be the bottom part of our cascading bouquet. Now I'm going to add a few more of these dogwood in here. And again, I'm just kind of measuring to see how long I want it. And you can see you just kind of set it up there and go, okay, that looks kind of pretty. I like it like that. And now's the time where you can just kind of, okay, do you want it on this side or that side, a little longer, a little shorter? And I'm liking that right there, and you can see that it's way too long for our bouquet holder, so I'm going to go ahead and clip off the top of this, put our hot glue on it, and I'm going to go ahead and insert this right in. Now, watch what I do here. I went right out the top, and I didn't mean to, so all I'm going to do is poke it back in, making it go straight back a little bit, and then I just bend our dogwood down a little bit. This is a great part about working with faux flowers is they're all wired stems, so if you need to make a little adjustment to make it work, it's super easy to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in this magnolia. Now they have one of these leaves that are really kind of chintzy looking, and then this other set of leaves are a really nice looking set of leaf. The leaves that actually look like magnolia leaves are really nice. So I'm going to leave those ones on there. And you can see I'm just going to layer this right on top of our florals that are already there. Cutting off the top once again. Adding in a little bit of our hot glue to make sure it's nice and steady in there once we poke it in. And then we're just placing it right in there. This is how easy it is to get this bottom part of your cascade. This is the part that everybody's a little bit afraid of making on the cascades or aren't quite sure how to go about doing this. And this is really, it's so easy to do. Making your bouquet yourself is a great way to save you a ton of money. Bouquets can be so incredibly expensive, and that's why I kind of like doing these to show you how to make your own. If you would like to see me make some of the just regular short bouquets that are not cascading, go ahead and leave me a comment down below, and I'll go ahead and make some of those as well if you're interested in that. Now you can see here, I'm just cutting one of our dahlias down to about the size that I want it to be. And I'm just putting glue in there, and I'm just going to put it right here, more towards the top. And now we're going to get this main part of our bouquet, just kind of the rough outline of the main part of our bouquet going here. And I want 2 of these dahlias up here kind of close on top. So again, I'm cutting this one to be about the same size as the first one we put in, and I'm going to put this one right up here right next to it. Now when I insert it, our stems don't have to be right next to each other. We just want to make sure that our florals have plenty of room so they're not totally smushed together. And you can see that is going to be the main part of our bouquet up there. Now I want to kind of bring our florals from the cascading part up into the main part. So I'm going to go with another one of our peonies here. And this one has some of the nicer leaves on it. So I'm leaving the leaves on this one. Now you could take all the leaves off if you wanted to, or you can leave them on. That's just a personal preference. Now I'm going to do this one right up here at the top, underneath our dahlia flowers here. That way we're just drawing those flowers from down below right up into the main portion of our bouquet. And now I'm going to grab one of these magnolias, and I'm going to put this right behind our dahlias at the top here. Again, just pulling those flowers from the bottom part of our cascade right on up to the very top of our bouquet as well. And let me poke this in right here. And let me just kind of turn this a little bit and let me kind of show you. You can see how we have our main shape of our bouquet now. We have this top portion and we have our main part of our bottom portion now. Now everything else is filling in. We're just going to now fill it in to make it nice and full. Now, I'm the type that likes to have a lot of flowers in my bouquets. Now I'm going to take another one of our peonies and I'm going to bring it all the way up here to the back by our magnolia. And you can see that I am also, because I bought these in a bunch, they have a lot of these little extra pieces on them, like the little eucalyptus that are connected with this peony flower here, and I'm loving that because I'm not taking those off. We want that extra movement in our bouquets, so the fact that we're getting those extra florals and we're not having to pay anything extra for those, I think that's fabulous. Now this one's a little bit more smushed. Now, when we're looking for bouquets, you want to get ones that have the most opened and unsquished flowers possible. But when you get some of these that have one that's a little bit more smushed than the other, just make sure you put those a little bit more on the sides or the back where they're not going to be quite as prominent as some of the other ones. Now, I wouldn't want to use that one necessarily in the part coming down that everybody's going to be looking at. I used my best ones for right there in the very front. But now you can see here on the back, it's no problem having those over there. They're not as likely to be seen. Now I'm going to take another one of these dahlias and I'm going to put it right back here to kind of bring that dahlia look right all the way to the very back, because the back is just as important as the front of our bouquet, because the back is what the bride is going to be looking at. So you want that part to be just as beautiful. And one thing I love about these dahlia flowers is they are huge and they take up a lot of real estate here on our bouquet, and I'm really loving that. And let me show you here. We have all of our flowers here on the main section is what we do coming down. So I'm really loving that. It's looking beautiful. And you can see that already the shape of our bouquet is really coming along great already. Now I'm looking for two nice looking dahlias here, and I want to bring a couple down here a little bit closer to this part that's coming down to kind of help bring the dahlia look coming down towards the bottom of our bouquet. Now I don't want these all the way hanging down at the very bottom because they're a little bit too big of a flower for that, but I do want them to be part way down. So I'm going to use these, it's kind of this filler part right here underneath this peony and right above this magnolia flower. And I think they're going to look perfect right there. Now you can see my stem is a little bit longer here because they have to be able to reach right in the center section, which is a little bit longer than putting them at the top, but not so long that we needed them to get all the way to the bottom. And see how much room that went and used up right there? And now we're going to do another one right next to it on this other side. Again, it will just fill in a lot of that empty room right there. And this is really going to look great for our bouquet filling in these areas. Now you notice I kind of bent that stem just a little bit going upward. And we're just going to poke it right in here until it's about the same distance as what our one right next to it is. And that is looking beautiful, just like that. And now I'm going to grab a couple of these hydrangeas and I'm going to put these down here to fill in the spot in between our dahlias and this magnolia. And that little bit of empty spot that we have right there, let's just fill that in with these hydrangeas. And again, these have a little extra green with them. So I'm liking that. So I'm leaving our stem a little bit longer on these. And I do like how these also have a little bit of that eucalyptus on these as well. So it adds in that little bit of greenery down here in this cascading part. And I'm going to do another one on this other side right in that same position. And I like to just bend that a little bit so that our hydrangea is coming up a little and looking up. So that's why you saw me go ahead and bend that stem just a little bit. Now keeping it a little bit longer once again and throwing a little bit of glue here on the end of this. We're going to go ahead and just poke it in here right on this side. And that just kind of helped fill in that spot there in between the dahlias and the magnolia with just something that adds a little bit of color but isn't really a standout flower. Now, if we were using some of the large hydrangeas, they could definitely be like a real standout flower, but these are just kind of filler ones. And they're nice and small and they're real great for just tucking in and filling in some spots where you want a little bit extra color, but not necessarily a great big huge flower. And I'll do that again with this one. And again, I love the fact that they have this extra greenery on there and some of this eucalyptus on there to give us some movement. I love a lot of like texture and movement in my bouquets, in any of my floral arrangements really. Now I'm just going to go ahead and cut this down and we're going to just kind of tuck this in right up here to add a little bit more color up there and some movement up here. Just like that, and it just kind of breaks up that red a little bit right there. I'm going to go ahead and grab another one of these. I'm going to do the same thing just down below here, right in between these other two dahlia flowers. And we'll just poke that in there right there. And with that eucalyptus also pointing down, I think that just kind of helps go right into our cascade. And as you're looking, if there's something you don't like or something you want to move this way or that way, I just go ahead and kind of rearrange things as I'm going. Now I have this kind of big hole here on the side, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and use one of these lilies So I cut one of these lilies off and I'm going to cut it down. And now I'm just kind of holding it to see which way I'm going to want it to go, which way I want the leaves on our lily to go. And again, you can see how I just kind of bent the end of our wire from our lily up just a hair so that it will be pointing up just a little bit more. And then we can just poke that in right there, and you can see how much room that took in here on the side. Our bouquet is really coming along great. Now we do have a lot of this back wide open, so I'm going to take some more of these lilies and just put some of these right here on the back as well. Now there's all these leaves on here. I'm going to pull those leaves off and cut this down. The leaves on these lilies are pretty long, so I don't want those on there right now. And then we can just poke this in. And one of the nice things, you're getting so much bang for your buck with these flowers because these flowers are a really nice size. And I'm just going to look on this other side, and we're going to go ahead and add one of these lilies on the opposite side here. And adding in once again our hot glue to make sure that it stays in there. Let me poke this in here. I'm going to go ahead and use another one of these dahlias. I'm going to put it right here on the side, right next to this lily that we had in here. Now you can see it's all coming together pretty good. We have several more flowers still to add yet though. Now I'm thinking I want this other peony right here in the front. You can see that I have kind of a hole in between these two hydrangeas and right below our dahlia. So I'm going to take this peony and we're just going to fill in that hole with this peony right here. We're just going to tuck it on in here. And again, I'm sorry, every time I pick this up, I forget that I'm out of the camera frame here. Let me bring this back down where you can see I added in that extra peony there. Now we're going on this very back side. I'm going to add in another one of these magnolias back here. And again, we want to make the back of our bouquet just as beautiful as the front because our bride is going to be looking at this and she wants to see something absolutely beautiful just as much as everybody who's looking at her. And you can see how we're coming along here. We're really getting the shape of our cascade coming along. Everything is looking great. We still have a few more flowers to add in here. Now I'm going to take another one of these peonies and we're going to poke it in here on this other far side once again to add in a little bit more there on the side over there. And now I'm just going to add in another one of these magnolias here on this side. Now you can see that there's still a large gap on this back side at the top here. I'm going to deal with this one first. I'm going to go ahead and add in some more of our lilies. I wasn't sure if I was going to use these in the beginning, so I didn't cut these apart at the beginning, but then I decided that yes, I'm definitely going to use these, and I'm so glad I did because these are looking fabulous in here. And look how big these are. We got such a great deal on these for only $3.47. We got these great big huge flowers that really add a lot to our bouquet and take up a lot of room back here. So they just look beautiful. Look at that. It filled that big empty spot in so great and it's looking beautiful. And you can see we have this nice rounded shape to our bouquet on top here. Now to add in the extra special part, the baby's breath really do add so much to your bouquet. They add the texture and they just make your bouquet look just absolutely beautiful. Now, anywhere I see a spot where it just looks like there's too much solid color or I see a little gap or a hole, I'm going to go ahead and add in this baby's breath. And if you're not sure, you can always just take and tuck a piece in, kind of like what I'm doing here, and going, oh yeah, that looks like it'd be pretty there. And then actually go ahead and hot glue it and put it in there permanently. So don't be afraid to just kind of set a flower in someplace, see if it's where you like it before you actually poke it in. Now, what I don't do is I don't actually poke it down into the floral foam. I just kind of set it down in there if I'm going to do that, because you don't want a bunch of holes poked into your foam. You only want your foam actually poked into when you're sure that you're going to set a flower somewhere. Now notice I'm keeping the baby's breath kind of up above the regular flowers a little bit to just really highlight them. And you can see with the different textures of the eucalyptus sticking out and the baby's breath how beautiful that is already starting to look. I'm loving how it's coming along here. Now we have a few more of these dogwoods here. So I'm going to cut it down so it will be a little bit shorter. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more here on this bottom side. And you can see there how pretty that is coming along. And now look, I added one of these Dollar Tree vases inside this jar with our gems. And now our bouquet holder fits into that vase just perfect. Now, this one little eucalyptus that came on one of the peonies was just too long. So what I did is I took and I cut that down. I took off the piece that was on the top of it and I just reinserted that piece right onto the little stem after I cut it down shorter. So this is one of the great things about working with faux flowers is you can manipulate them to do whatever it is that you need them to do. Now I'm using some of our eucalyptus bush that we had purchased, and I'm going to add in some more eucalyptus all around our bouquet here to just really add in even more of that texture and more of that movement. You get so much of this eucalyptus for only $2.75, $2.50, something like that, that this is well worth it. You don't have to go and buy the most expensive flowers to make an absolutely beautiful bouquet. I think in the end, this bouquet ended up costing me somewhere between like maybe $22 and $25 for everything. So this is a gorgeous bouquet that can be made for so inexpensive. You can really save your wedding budget for other things that you may want. Now, I'm always telling my daughters, make sure to spend a lot of money on the pictures, on the photographs. That's what you're going to look back and see in 20, 30, 40 years from now. So make sure that you spend money on your pictures. That's what, to me, is the most important, because that's what you're going to have forever. Now, the flowers and everything, they're important. Don't get me wrong. When I see how much some of the things cost right now, I'm just like, everything costs so much. If you can save a little money and do it yourself, then I am all for that. Now, I'm not saying to not use florists. If you can afford it, definitely use florists. My own grandparents were florists. That's how they made their living. I absolutely love floral shops and florists. It's just, I know how tight a lot of people are right now. And so that's why I really like showing you how you can make these bouquets all on your own if you need to. If you can afford the other, then by all means, go ahead and have somebody else do it for you and don't have any stress with this. And here you can see I'm just continuing to add some of this eucalyptus all the way around wherever I'm seeing that there's not a whole lot of movement or there's not enough greenery. I'm going ahead and adding that eucalyptus in. And you can see there, once again, this is just a little vase that I picked up last year from Dollar Tree that I found absolutely worked perfect inside this little jar with the gems in it. Now, I do try and make sure I have enough of greenery coming out and along the sides and kind of framing around the edges of our bouquet. Now we kind of have this big bare spot where you can see our cage of our bouquet holder. So I'm going to take another one of these lilies and we're going to go ahead and fill that spot in. And you can see that big bare spot right there. So this lily is going to fit in there just fantastic. And look how good that will fit. And just completely fill up that hole. Just need to cut it down a little bit, and we don't need that leaf on there. And then it's just a matter of kind of turning it around and seeing what direction I want this lily to face, which way the leaves of the lily will look best on there. And then we can go ahead and poke that right on in and fill that hole up. That is perfect. I'm loving it right there. Let me show you this other side. Everything is coming along absolutely gorgeous. Now I see some of our leaves kind of got bent down, so I'm just reaching in and pulling all of our leaves coming straight up. Again, this is a great part about working with faux flowers. And I'm just looking to see if there's any bare spots or any spots where I don't have enough movement or where it just looks like something is missing. And I think I'm going to use another one of these lilies and just cut this down here. And I'm going to add it right here, kind of in the center here, so that I don't just have lilies on the sides and in the back, but I wanted just one more of these right here, kind of towards the front, but it's still on the side. It's not right in the very center, but just to kind of bring that look of the lilies coming down into the cascade portion just a little bit. Now, I know you can still see a little bit of the cage right there, and that part doesn't matter. It's kind of down below, and I'm going to show you how we completely cover that up in just a minute. Now, I had this little piece of eucalyptus, and I don't want to waste it, so here are one of the little wired stems that I had cut off from one of the flowers. I told you we keep those because you never know. We can always use those for a bunch of things. Well, I'm just going to put this one little piece of eucalyptus on there and hot glue it and put it right down in here. Now I'm going to add in a little bit more of our baby's breath that we still had. And let's see, I'm really loving the way this is looking. Just looking around once again, seeing if there's any place else that we need a little bit of something. And I'm loving the way all of this is looking. Now we have our bouquet pretty done here, but I want to add a little bit of a ribbon onto our handle. We don't want our handle just looking plain white. So let's look here. We have these 3 different ribbons I picked out, and each one is really pretty. And now we just have to decide which one of these do we want to use with this. And I'm kind of leaning towards this gold because this gold ribbon here, it just has a really light shimmer to it. It's kind of silk on the inside. Let me flip this over and show you. I'm really liking the way this looks. So I think this could be used for any time of year. So let's go ahead and use this. I'm going to cut off just a small little square piece of it here. And let me show you how we're going to cover this handle. I'm going to go ahead and add just a little drop of our hot glue right on the bottom of our handle. And just hot glue the square right to the bottom of our handle. I'm going to fold the rest of our ribbon coming right up the handle and just put little drops of hot glue all the way around. And then when we fold up our ribbon there, it will just adhere itself right to that hot glue going up. And that way the very bottom of our handle is going to look nice and covered, and you're not going to see the white from the plastic. Now I'm going to glue this down a little bit more to really hold it. And now that very bottom piece is done, now I'm going to take some more of our ribbon. I'm just going to put a real thin line of our hot glue there and then fold our ribbon over. That's going to give us a nice clean edge to our ribbon and not a cut edge. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our ribbon and starting at the bottom here, we're going to go ahead and wrap this all the way around. So we're going to add another bead of our hot glue right on the handle. And then we're going to put our ribbon right on there, just like you can see me doing. And now we're going to start wrapping this ribbon going right around and all the way up our bouquet. And just keep taking it up a little bit further each time we wrap it around until we get it right about here. And you can see that's covering up most of that bottom part on the handle of our bouquet holder. And we're just going to go ahead and cut this off then. Now I'm using just some real cheap scissors from Dollar Tree here. You don't want to use any of your good scissors when you're cutting through ribbon that has wire on it, because it will just ruin your scissors. And now we again fold that over to give us a nice clean edge there. We're going to finish wrapping this around and then we're going to hot glue it right here on this side. And now once we have that done, we want to hold that really tight, make sure that it adheres real good. And you can see that looks so much better than being able to see that white plastic part. Now I know you're thinking, but you still see this ugly green foam and this white cage part. Don't worry, we're going to cover all this up as well. Now what we're going to do is we are going to grab some of our leaves from our lilies and we are going to just go ahead and take these leaves and we are going to hot glue these leaves on here just like this. So let me show you here. We're just going to put a little hot glue here at the bottom of our leaves. And then we're going to tuck that right up under there and just down onto the ribbon portion of our handle. And we're going to grab another one and we're going to put this one right next to that and we're going to work our way all the way around. And you just want to make sure that those get pressed on there real good and tight. You don't want those leaves coming off. Now let me show you here. You can see there it is all completely hidden. You cannot see the cage to our bouquet holder whatsoever. You only see this beautiful gold ribbon on the handle. And look how beautiful our whole bouquet is looking. Let me give you a little close up here and then I'll go ahead and put it in our vase here and kind of turn it around and let you see it from all angles. I'm just loving the way this looks. And this bouquet ended up costing, like I said, between like $22 and $25 to make this all on your own. This is so economical and it is just gorgeous from every single direction that you look at it from. It is just beautiful from the sides, the front, down low, or up above. And you can see, even if you wanted to put it after the wedding on the bride's table in a little vase, you could do that as part of the decorations and it just looks gorgeous. Has a lot of texture and movement. I'm loving the way this looks. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll be notified the next time I upload a video. And also, if you like this video, make sure to check out my other wedding bouquet videos that I have. Thanks so much for watching.